I'm planting all my stuff in a nice straight line, then I know that in a couple weeks there should be straight lines of things growing here that look the same, right? And if there isn't, then something's wrong, right? Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and it's a brisk day. It's sunny and it's nice, but it's a bit chilly. As you can see, I got my ears covered. And I'm going to plant some beets today. Now, it's a bit early for planting beets. In my opinion, beets and Swiss chard, stuff like that, you should plant when you see the yellow dandelion flower open up. Because for me, that's when the soil's at a better temperature. But the only good thing about rules is breaking them. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to plant these here, and I'm going to cover them with a plastic dome, because you know, all of these planting rules, you can move things ahead. You can plant ahead of schedule if you have things covered. Some things that works better for than others. I have found with beets and Swiss chard, if you plant them like a month ahead of time under cover, they work out just fine most of the time. So that's what I'm going to do today. So let's get started. I got a nice bed here all smoothed out, and all that's left to do now is get the beets in the ground, get some water on them and cover them, and that's all I got to do to get them going. Now, because this is under a dome, I don't want to have any beets too close to the edge, because that's the colder spot. So I usually go in about 6 inches, give or take, right? Make a little furrow here. Also not too close to either end. There's basically a space all the way around, about 6 inches, right? Now I gotta play this out. Oh, there's a weed growing there. Don't want that. Here, hopefully I killed that weed. Let's see now. I always have to work this spacing out because I want it relatively even. One of my viewers said, "Oh, you do everything so neat and tidy and orderly." And believe me, if you saw my garage when I'm not filming in it, neat, tidy, and orderly is counterintuitive for me. The reason, so I'm not one of these people that's hyper organized, hyper scheduled, everything's always, worked out. The reason I seem to be like that when it comes to planting is because it just helps to know where I've planted things. Right? If I'm planting all my stuff in a nice straight line, then I know that in a couple weeks there should be straight lines of things growing here that look the same, right? And if there isn't, then something's wrong, right? So that's why I do it that way. It's instead of using markers and sticks and labeling everything, by simply planting in a straight line, the plants mark themselves, so to speak. Now what I'm planting here is I got a number of different varieties this year. I'm planting 2 varieties of beets, Merlin beet and another one called Taunus. Taunus I plant every year. It's a long, almost looks like a fat carrot sort of beet. But these are round, shiny, deep red beets. I've never tried these before. This is my first time with trying these. They say one of the sweetest and darkest red beets we have found in our trials. So I'll give that a go. I get most of my seeds from Bessie Seeds. They sponsor the show and they give them to me for free. But one thing I like about them is they have a test garden where they test everything out before they sell it. That's what they say. Planning this summer, if I can work it out, to go there and do a tour of this test garden. I'm really curious to see that, right? So that's something I like to do. But the great thing is that everything they're selling, even though they don't develop the seeds, they try them out and see what they think of them. And based on, not just, so when they write up something about the seed, they're speaking from experience, right? Because a lot of seed vendors, they sell seeds, but they don't develop them, right? So I like their approach of just getting around that process by just trying them out the same way I would in my garden. So when they sell them, there's a little bit of, you know, a little more validity behind the write-up than might normally be the case. I've never seen a write-up for a particular variety of seed where it says, you know, these carrots on a scale of 1 to 10 are a 5. Right? Whenever you see a write-up for something, everything seems to be 10. It's all 10s, all the way, right? Which can't be true. Some things are better than others, right? I think these ones here, they're supposed to be really good at, the greens, the tops are supposed to be really good at staying bright, shiny green all season long. Really good heat tolerance and stuff like that, which is good for me, because I only do one crop of beets, but I leave them in the whole season. So, you know, I mean, we'll see. Now, with this bed, I have to be careful because on this end of the bed, the forest is right there. That direction is south. And when the leaves start coming in on the trees, it gets a bit shady here. So it can be the case that towards this end of the bed, the plants aren't as big, aren't as healthy, don't look as good. So that's just part of it. I mean, this is where the bed is. So some of the beets don't do as well here. Now, I could solve that by wiping out more of the trees at that end. And this year I did sort of, I don't know if you can tell, but I sort of went at, I've had this little, I don't know what that is, you know, sand cherry or something like that, or some sort of wild cherry tree. They don't taste good. They're not much use to me. I'm sure some animal uses them, but the main problem is that thing casts shade, a lot of shade on my garden. So I just, you know, obliterated that tree this year. There's plenty of other trees, and there's plenty of those trees in the woods, so you'll get by just fine without it. But trying to just keep all the trees that are on this side of the garden like 6 feet high, and not letting, I like having them there because they block the wind, and that's good, but when they get height, they cast shade, and that's a problem. Right, so that's how I've worked it out. That's my solution. Anyway, let me get the rest of these seeds in here. You know, it's funny, I've been just jotting down thoughts for a video entitled Advice for the Aging Gardener, and that is me. I'll be 50 in a month. And one of the main things, I'm just working through my thoughts on this thing. So I guess it makes sense to just, you know, when I'm doing some of these rambling on type videos, share that with you, because I'm just in the process of working out the material. But one of the points I think is important is just using different postures when you're working your garden. You notice while I've been working on this, I've done this sort of thing. I've done the one knee, the switched knees, and I've also done sort of something like, I can't do a perfect, what's it called, the Asian squat, where your heels are planted and you're sort of, you know, sitting like this, like you're using the bathroom. I can do it, but I'm not great at it, right? But I take that posture too, right? And these are all things I sort of work on in the winter months. I have a kind of workout routine. I've thought of making a video about it, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody wants to watch that, wants to watch me exercise. But I basically have like a garden workout, a workout that sort of maintains the muscles that you use for gardening. So there's a lot of bending over, pick things up, squatting, getting down, getting up, down, getting up, squatting, all that sort of stuff, right? Picking things up, putting them down, working on your balance, stuff like that. Which, I mean, that's good stuff for anyone. But boy, the last few years I've found that the first week of gardening season, I'm a mess. Like, I just have such a hard time. And I stay relatively active in the winter, but the movements you use in gardening are different than anything else. And so I just decided to keep all those muscle groups working all winter long. So when I'm indoors and I'm not gardening, I'm almost, from my body's point of view, it's like I'm pretending to garden. Anyway, get some water here from the goldfish pond. Can't have a hose hooked up this time of year because the water freezes at nighttime very often. And it can do that right into May sometimes. Anyway, I think a gallon of water is probably enough. One of the great things about having a dome over a bed is that you don't lose a lot of water because it's like a closed system, right? Yeah. There we go. So this dome was made to fit these beds. These beds are a bit shorter than my other ones. I think they're 7 feet by 4 feet wide just because of the space and how I'm using it. So it does fit perfectly inside this thing. You know, people often, I'm just gonna speak to a couple questions about domes while I'm doing this video, because I've got lots of videos on domes, but people always ask these questions and then I have to search and find them the video, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, if you've got a raised bed like this, and this is only slightly raised, right? The soil is about 1 inch or so above grade, but it's got this, you know, frame around it. If the bottom of the dome, the actual floor of the dome, is below the top of the bed, the wind can't pick it up and throw it, right? So as long as your dome is sitting down nicely in the bed, and there's a bit of a, like I'd say the bottom of the dome here is about 2 inches below this, okay? Well, you can see that. I can't really see the camera. Let me move that down a bit so you can see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, now you can see. Okay, so here's the top of the bed, and you go down, it's about 2 inches to get from here to where the dome is sitting, right? So this way, when the wind comes along, it just, you know, if it's coming this way, it hits it and pushes the dome down. If it's coming this way, it hits the dome and pushes it down. The wind can't get underneath to pick it up because there's this thing around the edge, right? So I found I don't need to tie them down in this situation. Now, all that being said, some days it can get really hot, right? I mean, today it's like 10 Celsius and it's sunny, but it's cold. But it'll probably get 20 something in there. But any day you're worried about it being too hot, like you're going to go to work and you're concerned that it's going to overheat, you just prop it up, put a little rock underneath it. Right? If it's going to be windy, then you have to tie it down because now the wind can get underneath it and lift it up, right? And that's only if you've got extreme wind, you know, really, really windy day, right? So, you know, a lot of people comment and they say, well, it gets really windy where I live. Trust me, it gets really windy where I live. This is a peninsula in the Atlantic Ocean. We get tropical storms and hurricanes and stuff like that. It gets windy here. And in this particular location is quite windy. So I can walk around my street and there's other parts of the street that aren't nearly as windy where their tulips come up 2 weeks before mine, sort of thing, right? So anyway, just a couple comments on that. Anyway, I'm planting beets a little bit early. Really you should wait till you see the yellow dandelion flower. Right now, in terms of, I like to base everything on dandelions, and it's another thing I've been talking about in my videos lately. Right now, all you've got is dandelion greens, and the dandelion greens in general are about 3 or 4 inches long. So, if you plant beets this time of year, where I am anyway, they take them forever to germinate, if they germinate at all. It's a bit cold for that, right? Especially with it getting down near 0 every night. So you have to have them covered, right? The seed might not even make it through all that cold, right? The seed might just rot in the ground. So that's how I deal with it. Works great for the most part, right? I check these in terms of watering. It's closed system, so basically the moisture evaporates and it sort of rains back down onto the beets. I check them once a week. If it looks dry, I water them. Usually I don't have to. Usually it just sort of takes care of itself. There's a lot of moisture in the soil anyway because it rained yesterday, right? So all I basically was doing is re-moisturizing the soil with that gallon of water. Anyway, that's how we do it. Planting beets a bit early, breaking the rules under a dome. Hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. Hey folks, want to help support everything I'm doing here? Check out my sponsors, Vesey's Seeds and Safer's Gardening Products. For Vesey's, go to their website, veseys.com, and use my coupon code GAVS22, and you'll get free shipping as long as there's a pack of seeds in your order and there's no oversized items in your order. Check out the description box of this video for details. For Safer's products, Woodstream products, you can buy all the things I use in my garden, slug and snail killer, BTK, and all. You can buy that from Vesey's, or you can go to their websites for a much wider range of products to solve just about any kind of problem that you can imagine with high quality natural ingredients like oils from seeds and flowers and stuff like that. If you're in Canada, go to woodstreambrands.ca, and as long as your order is over $69, you get free shipping. If you're in the United States of America, then go to saferbrand.com, and as long as your order is over $45 US, you'll get free shipping from them. So yeah, if you want to help support the channel and the podcast, and they sell something you need, buy it from them, and that'll help support everything I'm doing here. Thanks a lot.